I've fought the baddest motherfuckers in the world, and I still here supermodeling. What's up?
The last time I saw you, I was in the ring. I was just beating the snot out of you. It just felt bad for you. Shut up and walk away. Ooh, I warned you, walk away. There's this guy named Brian Johnson. He's been all over the internet espousing that he's biohacked, that he will live to 150 or 160. And if you look at him, he looks like a fucking vampire.
Looks like he's dying of AIDS. I just need to relax. And he keeps trying to lower his hand. And you're like, motherfucker.
This is not going to go well. Welcome to this episode of Lock, Load, and Listen. I'm your host, Michael Pierce, and I am here with Luke Rockhold, former UFC and Strikeforce world champion MMA fighter. Luke, awesome to see you then.
Good to be here, Michael.
So what's the best thing about being a fighter?
The groupies. No, just kidding. All we got is guy groupies.
Yeah, that's not so
There's
good.
no girls. It's all the guys. But, the best thing is after the fight. There's no feeling in the world like winning a fight. And the hard work, you put in months and months of hard work, and that feeling when you've slaved your life away for less 3 or 4 months, and then you execute and you come out on top, you get a fat paycheck, you get everywhere and anything you want in the world at that point. For the next month, you're walking on clouds.
I know it's great when you win and you're on cloud 9 and all the feelings of accomplishment. But what about when you get your ass fucking kicked? What does that feel like? That can't feel good.
Yeah, it's not fun. Depends on how it goes. Definitely the recovery process after a hard fight it's not fun as well. I've broken my jaw. That was pretty shitty. That's probably the worst. You seen these guys who break their legs. I actually broke my leg, but I didn't break all the way. I fractured it when I fought UL Ramiro. But that's one of the worst. Everyone's seen that Anderson Silva when his shin wraps around the other guy's shin.
Yeah, disgusting.
That is just a feeling you don't want. And the recovery process from that and the build back is a little ugly, but there's a good support system and people respect you for the game. And so it's if it weren't for the extreme lows, the highs wouldn't be so good, just like anything in life.
That's true. But don't you think that all fighters are built differently than most people? Because, everybody talks about getting into a fight, and most people, men in particular, have been at least 1 or 2 fights in their life. And everyone's tough until they actually get, the proverbial statement, until you get punched in the face. Then no one's a tough guy anymore.
Yeah.
You get punched in the fucking face for hours. It's gotta hurt. Your pain threshold has to be different than most people. That's my theory. Have you always been that way even when you were a kid?
I think most people are that way. There's certain people that go one way, and there's certain people that when they get hit, there's fight or flight, right?
Right.
Some people run to the fire, some people run away. I think there's a number of people when you get hit in the face. You've seen friends, we've all seen people that just it ignites a trigger, and they might not see clearly. They might have to get drunk eyes, but they're coming straight into the fire. That's something that's always been ingrained into me, and I think it's ingrained into a lot of people. It can be beaten into you.
Do you think it's not so much ingrained, but it's genetically in you? Because you came out this way, or did something happen when you were a kid that kind of made you want to be a fighter? This is a personal question, but I just wanted to ask you because often people that go into the fighting sports have an anger, and that anger comes from somewhere, and sometimes it's from a very dark place. They were abused or they were beat up, and they can't deal with that anger, so they find an outlet for it in the ring. That's something you can relate to?
I think it's ingrained in some people. It's DNA. It comes from a lineage of things, kind of like hunting dogs, I guess, to some level. But then I think it can be beaten into you and ingrained, instilled in you at a young age. I think people can have a lot of rough upbringings and create that
Can you relate to that? You joke.
That blood in their eyes. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, like most everybody in fighting, if you span the board of the best fighters in the world, the best fighters, not just fighters, but like the top dogs, we've all been through something. You know, there's been something that's been that you've been a hard upbringing. Your father was hard on you. Life was hard on you. Something with, you know, it's like all the best people I've noticed in the world, in any walk of life or any realm, they've had a hard upbringing. I mean, that discipline and those traumas create beautiful people.
I understand what you're saying. You always joke to me, you're the smallest guy in your family. You're 6'3", 220. You're like the tiny guy in your family.
Yeah.
Then I started thinking your dad was a basketball player. He was 6'8". Your older brothers are pretty big guys. Did it kind of maybe come from that? You were the littlest guy, you were the youngest guy, and that classic kind of brotherly bullying?
A little bit of that.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything. I've always ran to problems, or
because you're an adrenaline junkie. That's what it is too.
I'm 100% adrenaline junkie.
Yeah.
You know, I love those thrills and those highs. That's what balances my cortisol. It keeps me. I think it's what all of us need more of in this world. That's what's such thing as the hormesis theory, which is basically that. It's just basically that we've all taken out that we're such a supreme species, and technology and society have softened everybody, that the cortisol imbalance in everyone's minds is absolutely running wild, and people start to question who they are, what they are, but there's a lot of things, but it's like we're a species. We're meant to have something that's to be fearful of, and there's nothing out there that we're scared of, and so we just get comfortable and more comfortable, and there's no fears in life.
Huh. I didn't think that would be the answer I would get from you. So on the topic of fighting and other fighters, so who's a fighter that you fought that you thought was just the baddest motherfucker ever? Just the guy you were like, damn, this guy is super tough.
Man to man, on a fair playing ground, I believe I'm the baddest motherfucker. And I believe that I've fought some bad motherfuckers that were cheating.
What do you mean by cheating?
I mean, there's guys like Yoel fucking Ramiro. He's just like, he missed weight on purpose because he knew that I was dying to make weight. And then this is a world title fight. And then the guys, you know, so he's admitted this recently. It's like he missed weight by 3 pounds, which is like, and let me make weight. And then we fought in the middle of the day. So I limited all my recovery time. The guy he's a Cuban. His country has cheated him from the beginning, and you have to cheat to survive, the whole kind of thing. So, but he's and honestly, an absolute freak as well, but he's on steroids as well. The motherfucker's the biggest cheater I could ever imagine. And he's a freak of nature.
Freak being strong, and
he's a freak athlete. He's a freak of nature, and he's on everything that he can and cheating every way possible.
So like performance enhancing drugs is what you're saying.
He's not a, yeah.
But isn't that legal?
It's
in
not,
MMA fighting?
It's not.
So what about, how does it get tested?
I don't know. You get
just gets around it
through like, I don't think I've ever told this story, but there's, after our fight in Perth, Australia, you go, I got stitched up. My lip was busted, and I had to get in the hospital. And so I'm getting stitched up for like, 2 hours after the fight, and maybe 2-3 hours. And I'm in the back getting stitched up, and Yoel is getting like wheelchaired in next to me in the hospital. I was like, I didn't really see. I was like, what was that all about? Because there was like wheelchair and like 4 black coats following him. And I asked the doctor, and the doctor's like, yeah, he still hasn't taken his piss test yet. Meaning he's basically, I didn't really know at the time and how people even cheat like that, but you take something and it passes through your system in a number of hours. And so he wouldn't take his piss test until like hours after the fight. And so basically probably pissing his pants or doing whatever he was doing.
Oh, wow. Okay,
but
cheating.
That's the game. Yeah, you figure it out.
Got it. So let's shift gears a little bit and go to how you prepare for a fight. And what's the craziest training regime that you have? And then let's talk about some of these other people like Khabib, who is kind of a freak, who has all this crazy stuff on the internet, wrestling with bears and, kicking posts. Can you talk a little bit about some of this crazy shit?
Well, I think the hardest workout I think we've both ever done is our classic AKA bike nights. AKA bike nights were the hardest thing that built us all as champions. Me and Khabib have been teammates from from the beginning. Khabib showed up on our doorstep in San Jose, California by himself. And we just we took him in. I kind of liked the kid. He was just he literally walked in by himself, and he was wandering around the gym. And I think he got invited by Mo Lawal, a wrestler. And he was there and no one really knew him. And then I just liked how hard-nosed he was and how hard he worked. And so I kind of took him under my wing, and I was training for a fight, and he had a fight coming up, and we just kept pushing each other every day. And, Khabib is a tough motherfucker. He's as tough as they can. And then, so anyway, past that, we would do these AKA bike nights, which was like a little room of hell. And we would all be getting ready for fights. You got Cain Velasquez, Daniel Cormier, Khabib Nurmagomedov. You got Islam Makhachev. I mean, you're talking just champion after champion after champion. And we were all stuck in this one room. And it's this tiny little room, little sweat box. And you would have Aerodyne bikes lined up, and you'd have to crush an Aerodyne bike for 1 minute as hard as you could. Aerodyne bike is the most undefeated tool in sports, other than human beings and boxing gloves and fighting people.
Why is that?
The Aerodyne bike is just it's an assault bike. It's just your whole body has to work, and you can never beat it.
Okay. So
we would hit this bike for a minute, and then we would get off on another minute of wrestling. We would get into bad positions. You'd be wrestling, going for takedowns, and you'd run back to the bike, do the minute, and then you get back off the bike, and you'd run right into you'd be on the ground, and you have a guy on top of you, guy would have to hold you down. You have to get up off the ground. So it's imitating the worst positions in fighting. Mm-hmm. And then another one, you get back and you'd be fucking unloading on the bag or hitting pads with your coach, and you run back to the bike and you run back and forth. And the whole time you're just trying to raise your RPMs on the bike, and you're trying to raise your intensity. And it's a back and forth thing. And we would go for 30 minutes straight. And it was just pure hell. And that bike night is what built all of us into champions.
Really? It's just because it's training your body for extreme punishment, just kind of extreme anaerobic. And yeah. I would have not thought that. That's fascinating.
That and sprints. Sprints suck. Trying to do 16 sprints.
Oh, that's brutal.
It's never fun because we're doing sprints until you can't breathe, you can't walk, you can't see.
It reminds me of volleyball hell camp. I played college volleyball, and back then these coaches were just so punitive. They'd put you through these terrible conditioning routines that just you'd run till you basically threw up. I don't know how constructive that is for volleyball. I mean, for fighting maybe, but not for volleyball.
You got to make people hard wherever you go in life to
I
become
guess
better.
So. Speaking of hard, what about Tony Ferguson, the mad genius? This guy who hits sledgehammers and stuff. Do you have anything to say about that?
Out of his mind, man.
Okay, out of his mind.
I like Tony. He's a creative man. He had a moment where he was very, very good. He did some crazy stuff, man. You never knew how he was going to approach a fight. I think he got a lot of love for that, and because he would just be throwing spinning elbows and somersaulting out of takedowns. He never knew what the fuck he was going to do. It was insane. But he's fun to watch. He does some weird stuff. Some stuff that's a little bit out of many realms.
A while ago, when you were fighting with UFC, like a lot of fighters, you've had your issues with the head of the UFC, who's a somewhat controversial guy, obviously trailblazer and a spirited individual, and used kind words. And at a certain point,
he's a businessman.
He's a businessman, right? And you guys are commodities, right? Fighters are just a commodity to him.
He's run it the way he sees fit. Yeah. It's worked.
It has
worked for him. And, there's just people who are going to butt heads. Not going to be pushed around. But, hey, the man he's obviously done his thing very well.
Right. But you got to a point where you felt you weren't being valued. And so instead of kind of going off sulking or accepting the value that they put on you, you said, fuck off. I'm going to go and make money doing something else and get back on my feet or regain my power. And so you transitioned from a fighter to one of the top male models in the world. Is that right? And you were the face of Ralph Lauren for a while. Mm-hmm. Talk to us how that transition worked, because that's kind of fascinating to me.
Yeah.
It's not a career path I would have seen as a natural one for you.
I have to say that I've earned my looks throughout the years. I've fought the baddest motherfuckers in the world, and I still here, supermodeling. What's up? Yeah. No, I think one of my favorite quotes is, if you don't know your worth, someone's going to tell you your worth, and it's going to be less than your worth.
Mm-hmm.
You have to leverage yourself. Leverage is such a key point in life. Leverage in technique, in fighting. Leverage is such a key element. Leverage in business. Leverage in there's so many different advantages and opportunities in leverage. So if you lack leverage, you fail. If you put all your eggs in one basket, if all you have is fighting, then they control you. They're going to take advantage of you. You're not going to be as marketable. You're not going to be as they're going to try to grab you by the balls. So I was kind of primarily just fighting at that time, and I lost the world championship. I thought I was just going to walk through people, and I took it casually, this guy, and I didn't really focus, and I made a slip. If you slip, they're going to make you pay. You know what I mean? They're going to not want to pay you is basically what it came down to. It's a business, right? And so he tries to devalue me and make me feel like a fucking little ant. And I'm like, fuck you. And I stood up for myself. I'll go fucking model. He said, go fucking model then. And I was like, all right, shit. Yeah. Turn away from all confident from the conversation, get out of it. Like, here we go. I went to New York, just started meeting people and started getting around, talking to everybody, and just get in front of people and show them your face. And then one thing led to the next. I got a little campaign, another little campaign, and then I met a great photographer that was, and I heard about this Ralph Lauren job that was coming up. That people that were looking for a new face. Nacho was their guy, and he was on the way out. And so I guess I fit the mold a little bit for the Ralph Lauren, and people were pushing me for it. I went and met Ralph Lauren through this crew of people, my agency, and the people kind of put me in front of him. He flew me out like first class, and I was in a competition for like 6 months or more with like some top actors, some like big name actors. And I was like, are we going to get this? I don't even know. It's like, it was just very like dicey because it was just going on and on for like 6 or 7 months. And he finally flew me out to New York, all first class, put me up like 2 days. Like, it was pretty wild. And I'm like, and then I go into Ralph Lauren, they dress me to go meet him. Like, Ralph is like this crazy big building. And so you have to go into the corporate side. They like dress me, they get me all ready. And then like they send me back to his like office level, which is this like crazy level in the middle of New York City, which is just like the chicest Ralph Lauren things you could ever imagine within a building. It just doesn't make any sense. And I walk in there, and he's a secretary. Everyone starts to like look at me, and they like me. And then they walk me in there. I meet him, and I'm like, he's like, what's up? He's like, oh, I heard you're a boxer. I'm like, actually MMA, but hey, I heard you box. He's like, oh, I used to do a little bit. And he's like, oh, nice to meet you. It was maybe 5 minutes at most. I was there for 3 days. They flew me out, prepped me for 2 days, and I'm like, and I get out of there, and I'm like, fuck, I don't know if I got it. Sitting there at the bar at my hotel, having a couple Macallans, and get a call. You got the job.
So you were wearing his clothes, though, right? They dressed you in like a suit or something, so you looked the part because you fill out those clothes amazingly well.
They liked me over there. I met some people, and then my agency was tight with them, so they liked me, and he liked me. He liked my look, and liked the vibe, and so we sold it, and we got the deal, and then I became the face of Ralph Lauren. I became the face of the underwear, the shirt, the fragrance, the Polo Blue. I had a global commercial. I was in every airport around the entire world. And then Dana White and the UFC said, they came back to me, like, Luke, how much money do you want? What fight do you want? Like, that's the story of leverage. That's the story about knowing your worth. You know what I mean? And not ever banking on one thing. There's a lot of things, like, especially like, I believe you should focus, like in sports. It's like, it's not good to spread yourself too thin. And I always did that as a kid. I always tried to be the best at everything. And like, I was like really understood that I needed to focus on one thing to be the best at that one thing. But in business, it's like you can't like, focus too hard.
Jack of all trades, but a master of none.
Yeah. Then that's a real thing.
Yeah.
But there's also other leverage points. You have to, life is a balance, and it's hard. It's a hard game to balance.
I have to ask you this, though, because I used to be a serial model dater. It was really not healthy for years.
You look like one.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll take that as a compliment. And it cost me a lot of money, especially with my first wife. But finally came to my senses, realized that wasn't a world for me, wasn't good for me. But in that world, I remember always hearing from the the woman's perspective, these female models, we're seeing the photographers often behave very badly.
Yeah.
And then I started to hear, because I would hang around with all their friends, even the male models got treated horrendously. People talk about how, female models have been mistreated, a lot of sexual stuff going on, a lot of sexual assault in the workplace. And then you come in as an MMA fighter. You got to have a story or two about that. I mean, you can take that where you want it to go. But I've never heard this before.
I didn't have to do anything.
Okay, you weren't on your knees at all.
No,
okay.
I definitely am not a knee guy. Could never imagine doing anything.
So no one ever tried anything? I mean, one of these big photographers?
So Bruce Weber was the photographer for the original photographer of the Ralph Lauren campaign. Bruce Weber told Calvin Klein to name his underwear Calvin Klein. Bruce Weber is like the godfather, getting big fucking Santa Claus weird dude of the fashion world. So Bruce loved me, loved fighting, and so he I'm a former world champ already at this time, and this guy shot Obama, this guy shot at everybody, and you go up into his crazy office in New York City, and he's got 3 assistants, he's got a front desk girl, another girl assistant, and he's got 6 golden retrievers running around this place, beautiful golden retrievers. It's the weirdest thing ever. It's his whole place is just this really chic penthouse with all these assistant photographers and assistants, and you're and then he's meeting him, and then he pulls you into his office. He's like, you need to relax. Imagine you're on a deserted island, and you're I'm taking you're taking some shots to send off to Ralph and them or whatever, and he's he's holding your hand. Imagine you're on the desert island and you're with this girl, and he's trying to do this breathing technique. And I'm all right, you just need to relax. And he keeps trying to lower his hand. And you're motherfucker. And I was where does she feel you? Where does she feel you? I'm right fucking here. So anyway, this is a stupid breathing technique that they used to do. It was pathetic as can be. But the sickest thing is that these companies know what he's doing, and they're still allowing him to run these campaigns. Well, you're talking to L'Oreal. L'Oreal runs the fragrance for Ralph Lauren.
Well, there's 1,000 stories with a couple of other big photographers.
Yeah, I mean,
got taken down.
Terry Richards is crazy. Have you seen his book? His book is insane. I don't even know how that's legal. What's going on? He's wild. I mean, and his whole clientele, his team was behind him and pushing him.
They enabled him for sure. That was a terrible era. It's very exploitative for young people, not good.
Young people, yeah.
But I just think that wouldn't go so well with you.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work well with me. Yeah. And so anyway, we did a $3 million campaign with Bruce. We shot this whole campaign in the Hamptons. It was wild. Great, on kite surfing. It was a cold, weird thing. Bruce, I was sure we should do surfing. He's no, we're gonna do kite surfing. I'm it's not really a popular thing. I'm not sure if we're gonna make the whole campaign about kite surfing. And so all this stuff came out right before we launched the campaign. And so we basically axed L'Oreal and Ralph Lauren. They axed the whole $3 million campaign, and they wanted to detach themselves from Bruce's name. L'Oreal did. And so, of course, but even when they already knew everything was going on, is cover up, save face. And so we had to shoot the whole thing 2 weeks before my world title fight with Yoel Romero. I had to shoot this whole thing in 3 days, right before it. And then we changed it to surfing, and we shot it with some random new people I'm not really familiar with. But
so suffice to say, you were not exploited as a male model, Luke, right?
I'm not the type can be exploited. It's not my cup of tea.
Gee, that's shocking to me, Luke.
I was
what I know of you.
I was who do you fucking think I am, then?
But the thing that's so interesting about this, is some of these other male models, because I've known them when I was in that era, very buffed and big guys, but they weren't fighters, and they get very manipulated by these photographers in really bad ways. And they run into someone like you who's looks the same, but you're a different animal, clearly.
The stories came out, and they were just I don't know, it was quite weird. I don't even know what the truth is. He was playing with them, or they were he's disgusting.
It's just money, you get the campaign. You want to do this, and you get the campaign. That's a lot of money to people, young people. And they wait. You
don't have eyes or feelings.
Well, it's just an abuser and abusee. Horrible relationship where someone's in a position of power over you.
Strange world.
Can we talk about fitness, your fitness regime, and how you stay in shape. And I know you're working with a couple of brands now with biohacking and all this other stuff. I know it's a kind of kind of advanced technology in terms of what you put in your body, and people might not know this.
Yeah. The key to life is movement, circulation, everything. If you don't move it, you lose it, which is extremely, on point. Every form of healing is a form of movement. You're talking about heat therapy, cold therapy. You're talking about hyperbaric chambers. You're talking about massage. You're talking about chiropractic. You are adjusting and moving and keeping this flow of things going from cellular to structural to muscle building. You're moving. You're building muscle. You're building protein synthesis. There's so many different attacks on that realm of circulation now. Like there's the hyperbaric chamber, which creates a pressurized chamber that stimulates a different type of movement. There's the hot therapy it's vasodilation, vasoconstriction with hot and cold therapy. So you're creating a pump system in your body. It's all and there's also stressing yourself. It's also tricking your body to thinking it's dying. I think that's another thing that's extreme. Like when you get in the super hot moments that your body starts to freak out, and then you break past that certain point, it sets up a chemical release to heal your body, to protect your body. That's the same thing in cold bath. And that's the same thing in a lot of these things, in the extreme workouts and stuff like that. Your body it's maybe not think it's dying, but it's setting off this protective mechanism to heal your body. And the more we can trick our bodies, the more we can force these circulations, the more we can identify with all these necessary remedies, we're going to live quite long.
So this all seems reasonable to me and interesting. But what about Ozempic? It's very topical these days. So kids think, oh, I want to lose weight. I don't need to work anymore. I just take Ozempic. I lose weight. I get in shape. What do you think about that?
I think their cortisol imbalance is a little off.
Is that code for that's bullshit or what?
I'm not a fan of soft kids. I'm not a fan of soft people. I think there's ways to earn it. There are peptides these days that are very helpful.
Right.
I mean, you can take Somorelin. Well, it tells your brain to produce more growth hormone. That'll lean you out, but you have to work for it too as well. I think that the quick fix is it's a way to disaster for a lot of people.
So what do you think about the enhanced games that's going on now? People getting, basically paid $1 million for breaking a world record, and you can do anything you want. You can take any steroid, any human growth hormone, doesn't matter.
Yeah, that sounds like a freak show. I think that you might as well put them all in one category and watch it and see what's. That's interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I would like to see but in its own realm. I like watching people do it on their own accord, and people that it's like that aren't cheating, especially in fighting. And fighting, it's different too, because you're fighting another human being, and so without testing, it's like our lives are on the line. Like you can get defaced and wrecked for life. And so when you're fighting a guy that's enhanced in cheating, it's so different. In an Olympic platform, like track and field and things like that, high jumping, I'd be curious to see.
That's a good point, actually, because that's different than if you're actually fighting someone who's jacked up on every possible drug in the world. He's like superhuman strong because he's got human growth hormones, but you don't. You'd be at a distinct disadvantage, right?
It's a lot more than growth hormone. These guys are on testosterone. And I don't even know what these other things really do, but trend and DECA, I guess what they call it. But these guys are on some crazy stuff. So then they just, you can see it. They're just sweating and pulsing. Their veins are popping out of their head, and their eyeballs are just bloodshot red. It's different.
It leads me to the next topic, which I know you're going to get a kick out of this. There's this guy named Brian Johnson who sold his tech company for hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Very wealthy guy, actually lives in Los Angeles, and he's had a documentary made on him recently. He's been all over the internet espousing that he's biohacked more than anyone in the world, and he will live to 150 or 160. And if you look at him, he looks like a fucking vampire.
Looks like he's dying of AIDS.
But so you know who he is. Yeah.
I don't trust people on how they look and how they're aging. I look at Dave Asprey. This guy is like a health guru guy, but he looks like he's dying of AIDS. These guys aren't looking healthy, and they're preaching to the masses, and they don't look it.
But he's also selling his own line of products. Let's not forget that.
Yeah. But I'm just like how people are following these guys and listening to these guys, and they're making waves because they have money and they have products, but they are not the picture of health. I've seen a lot of guys, a lot older than them, that are doing a lot better for themselves. They don't. I mean, what's his name? He doesn't get any. Does he get any sunlight? Does he walk in the sun?
Oh, Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson, like, what are you
I don't
doing?
know. He just takes vitamin D supplements. He's never in the sun. He's very white. Yeah, he looks like a ghost.
It doesn't. He doesn't look healthy to me.
Doesn't look healthy. Yeah,
Doesn't look healthy to me. And the same thing for the other guy too. I mean, I think there's a lot more avenues. I mean, I think the sun is what gives life.
Yeah, vitamin D.
You can't just supplement everything. I think they're going to find problems later.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of ways to stimulate yourself.
Okay.
I mean, heal yourself, but I mean, the picture of the human being and then like hard work. These guys don't do hard work. They don't like working out like hard. Like there's zone 2 work, but then there's the extreme work that actually, like you said, you put your body into this like state of like shock, of super shock, or build it up. Like you want to get your muscles, you have to have more muscle too. Your muscles is the first thing to deplete as you get older. And so it's like you stabilize muscle, it secures the joints, the bones, and everything else within that too. I mean, you can't deplete on any way. You can't lack in any way, shape, or form. There's a lot. And then there's like the hyaline tissue of your body too that holds down your muscles. So there's ways to stimulate that. There's a lot of things that people just they follow, and they all want the easy way out. There's no easy way out. In the end, you can take the supplements, you can do all the little things, but if you don't fucking put the hard work in, you will look like a fucking vampire. You will look like a guy that says he's aging well, but he really isn't.
Yeah, well, let's not debate that anymore. I've always kind of wanted to ask you this. So back to like when you get into a fight and that adrenaline surge, when you realize like, Jesus, someone is actually threatening me, or they're going to hurt me, and I have to defend myself. I haven't been in many fights, but my story is kind of funny, and I know you're going to love this. Yeah. So when I moved to LA, I thought I was a reasonably tough guy. And so I was dating this girl at the time who was very, very attractive, and we went to this nightclub. And at the nightclub, there was a certain unnamed actor, I'm not going to name him, who was an action star, but rather diminutive in stature. I thought, I was surprised how small he was. And he was so inappropriate with my girlfriend. He just didn't care what I said. I had never experienced that. It was an LA thing, right? Where people think they're just, I am a celebrity. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I don't care what you say. So I said, listen, dude, yeah, I came here with her. She's my girlfriend. Oh, okay. Yeah, she's really beautiful. Yeah, she sure is. I go get a drink. I come back and he's just like talking her up, and she's kind of starting to feel uncomfortable. So at a certain point I said, listen, buddy, I don't know who you are. I didn't know who he was, right? But his friends were there, and they're like, hey, you know what that is? I'm like, no. Well, he's so-and-so. I'm like, I don't care. He's acting like a total asshole. And he'd had a bit to drink, in all fairness. And at one point, he was walking out, and I was walking out to the bathroom, and he said, listen, your girlfriend is unbelievably hot. She was English, because I had moved here from the UK. And I said, listen, you're way out of line here, pal. I'm not from here. I just moved here. But where I'm from, you just don't do that shit. And he goes, well, where the fuck are you from? Butt fuck nowhere. I'm like, dude, you got to just stop. This is enough. And then he just kind of pushed me. And I was like, and I just went like just really quick to his stomach, just boom. And I'm not a fighter, but I'm strong and I can get angry. And he just went down. I didn't hit him very hard, like hardly at all. He was down on the ground, coughing and wheezing. I was like, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have done that. And nothing came of it. That's not the point of the story. But with someone like you, who actually is a professional fighter, you're held to a different standard by the law. You have a duty of care. You can't hit anyone, or you're going to get sued like in 2 seconds. Yeah. I know that feeling when you're in the ring, though.
Michael.
Yeah.
How'd you feel after you hit him?
I felt awesome. That's what I wanted to say.
That's all I want to know. Like people, like,
I've been in 2 fights.
They talk shit and they criticize fighting and this, that. But anybody who's ever been in a fight,
right. It was the best.
There's a feeling that you get.
I know,
and that is like that's the Hormesius theory. It's like that. Yeah. That is that theory of fighting for your life. And that gives you this purpose, this balance, and this understanding of life.
All right, but looking, hey, that was the good story. Here's the bad story.
Oh God.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was great. Oh, I'm top of the world. I beat up a wannabe tough guy action star who was 5'7", 130.
Was it Chuck Norris?
No, it was not Chuck Norris. So here, the next story is the last one. So I then, but 4 months later, after being in LA for 4 months, started to think, yeah, I'm kind of a tough guy. No one can fuck with me. And I'm in a club in Venice, and I was with a couple of my buddies. And a lot of people had a lot to drink, and somebody just pissed somebody off, and there was this bit of a fight that broke out. We were all kind of in the middle of it, not really wanting to do anything. And there was this kind of nondescript guy, maybe 5'9", 160, and he was trying to keep the peace, and he grabbed my friend like from behind. I put him in like a chokehold. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? He was like, don't come near me. Stay away from me. I have control here. You guys started. Just get the fuck out of here right now. He was choking my friend. And I was like, you got to stop that. So I went to help my friend. And I want to show you this. So stand up. Okay. So you'll appreciate this. So he's like not a big guy. And I had a bad feeling about it. So he lets my friend go and he goes, listen, shut up and walk away. And I'm like, what are you going to do? And he went like this. He went, just like super fast. Just boom, right in my trachea. And that hurt so bad. I was down on the ground like 2 seconds. He was just like, I warned you, walk away. And I was like, I walked away. And then after the fact, everyone was joking, you know who that is?
Was that Steven Seagal?
No, it was not a Hollywood dude.
God.
It was a guy who was a fifth-degree black belt. I forget his name. He was a real known dude. And he shouldn't have hit me, actually. But he hardly touched me. But it hurt so much. And I thought, that little bit of pain, and I was like no longer a tough guy. Like I don't want to be fighting anymore. Yeah. You get in a ring with real tough guys. You are a real tough guy. We talk about the glamour. Yeah, it felt great to like when you hit someone, but when you get hit and hurt like you've been, and we've talked about this, when your nose is pouring blood, you're in a horrendous amount of pain and you're still getting beat up. There's a certain person, only a certain person can do that. And it certainly the fuck isn't me. But that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. What makes you tick? Like how did you become this lethal fighting machine?
You get poked, and you get poked, and you get poked, and then you get jabbed, and then, you know, as you grow up, he's just like you just tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher and tougher.
All right, so then
I just love fighting, man. I love being able to protect myself. I love being able to protect my friends. Okay, I love being able to walk in a room and know I can take care of business.
What are you going to do now? We live in a society where bad guys have guns.
I got guns too.
Okay. Tell me a little about that. I know we talked about that.
I can't use them that much, but you know, I can flash it.
But it is an equalizer, right? So you've talked a little about this. You know, we talked about your work with American Gun Owners, who sponsors this podcast. I'm the CEO of this company, which is making gun ownership easier for law-abiding Americans who should be able to own and carry guns if they're qualified.
100%.
And you've had your experience with that. You've talked about
accessible too. You know, not a lot of people want to go into the stores and don't know what to do. And you know, American Gun Owners, we're providing a platform that, you know, can show you what's the best option for you and get you all the license, training, and everything you need, right?
Yeah. But that kind of equalizes it, right? If good people, law-abiding people are armed, then criminals aren't going to be so brazen anymore. And that's what we're finding even in LA County, where people are getting licensed. But you know, from your perspective, it's got to be interesting because you actually can't hit people because we've talked about you're going to get sued like that. You can't shoot people either. But
I think none of us. Yeah, we all will. I mean, to a certain point, we all can do what we need to do. We just have to, like, you know, like if we're in a fighting situation, someone would have to hit me, and if I can prove self-defense, I can prove self-defense. Kind of like similar with guns. I mean, like if we're obstructed, seriously, I mean, like you have to wait to the last resort. But there's ways to where we will be protected. But it's the most important thing is understanding how to defend yourself,
right? And
understanding those laws and those rules to keep yourself safe as possible. I mean, it's a tough world these days, but you gotta. Yeah,
but even someone like you you don't feel safe that much, not all the time. No. And you're like, you know, a very scary dude to most people, but you're not even feeling safe. Imagine what the average person feels like in a big city like even Los Angeles. Yeah, I don't feel safe at all.
I moved down to Newport Beach because it's just a little more. It's like its own little. You know, they actually protect the people and they keep it clean down there. And here in LA, like they take the rights away from all the cops, and these bums are just getting more and more aggressive. And you're walking into encounters left and right, and it's just not fun. Like
that happened to you?
One of those is going to go wrong.
Does that happen to you?
Yeah, it's happened to me multiple times. I mean, I had my car broken into during COVID twice. The second time, I had a feeling like, you know, the first time because they had broken in and like they were like going to nice neighborhoods and they were pulling car doors, and I got some things taken from my car the first time, and the second time I came back from a golf session and I was like, my buddy I was with, his wife found out that he came out and golfed, and she got mad at him, and so she was like, "You're not coming home." They were having a kid, and he's like, "You're bringing COVID into this household." And so I was like, so basically, he came back with me, and I was doing some marriage counseling. We're drinking. We're late. It was about 2 a.m. and my garage door just opens up. I was like, "What the hell is this?" I'm like, "What the?" And I saw him, and I thought about it for like a split second. I was like, "Oh my God." And I got up and I just ran out the door, ran through the garage, ran out into the street. And I had my Range Rover on the street. And like, I go into the middle of the street and I look at my car, and I'm pretty hammered right now. I look into my car, and there's this, like, my car door is open. There's this big dude just pulling out like just cords and bills and just getting whatever he can. And I'm just like, the fuck do you think you're doing? And he turns around, he looks at me, he's like, what? And then he starts walking me down. He's like, what are you going to do about it? And like, just starts walking straight at me, like squaring up. I'm like, I'm just so drunk. And I was like, oh, he got close enough, and I just went, what? Threw a big head kick as hard as I could. And my shoulder was pretty messed up at that time. I just had surgery like 4 weeks ago. So I was like, I couldn't really lift my arm. So I was like, it's all day. I was just like, immediately just head kick, cracked him. And he's like, what? He's like, what the hell? And I like hit him again, knocked him to the ground. Like, yeah, what now, motherfucker? I was like about to start stomping on him. I'm like citizen's arrest. And a big Mexican dude jumps out of this getaway car behind me. He gets out of the car, and he's like, what? And he gets into this like thug boxing stance. And I like turn around. I'm like, well, you want to go? Like, boom. I kicked him in the head a couple of times, knocked him down. And he's down. And then I look up and I see the guy squirreling. The other guy, that guy gets up and he starts running around the outside of the car. And I'm like, oh, no, you fucking don't. So he goes in the passenger side seat. And I'm like, I go into the car on the driver's side. And I'm like trying to grab the keys. And he's like scrummaging. And we're both like leaning in on the car. And I'm like grabbing the keys. And he's like pulling stuff. I'm like, oh, no, don't do it. And he grabs a gun off the floor and puts it straight to my head. Ooh. And I was just like holding the keys. I was like, it's like that. And I was like, I got back up. The other dude jumped in the car and they sped off. This all happened in like 30 seconds. You know, I'm like, right. I'm sitting there just like, what in the fuck just happened? I'm just shaking in shock, gun to my head. Jesus. And then my friend, Charlie, English Charlie, comes walking out. He like missed the whole thing. He's like, hey mate, what's going on? I'm like, I'm losing my mind. Wow. And we just went back inside, and there was no one. Like, it was wild, because there was just like, it was 2:30 a.m. and he like, it happened so quick. Like, he was just delayed his walk out and like just missed.
So many people
like, saw the car speed off, and it was
have a gun story like that.
That's pretty wild. But that was like one of those moments where I'm like, I'll never not have a gun in exactly where I want it. At my household, people that come to take your possessions and take your things. It's
right,
like,
and this is,
I mean, that could
world
have been
champion fighter.
Yeah, having a gun pointed to your head,
I've
like
never had that.
After like that. Like I fight these guys and beat them both with one leg, and then they're trying to take my stuff, have the audacity to put a gun to my head. Like, those people should be dead.
Yeah, that leads me to another conversation about lots of people feel very vulnerable in society. A lot of women don't feel safe. They want to learn how to safely use a gun and have it and potentially carry it. My wife was felony stalked when I first met her. She's the precedent case in LA County. This guy just wouldn't leave her alone. He was dangerous. He beat her up once. And then I started dating her. He went to jail. But about 3 years after we dated, we lived up in the Hollywood Hills. Middle of the night, some guy tries to break into our house. She sees him. Actually, it wasn't that late. It's about 11 o'clock. And she sees someone trying to break in. So I grab my self-defense shotgun out of its safe. I sneak around behind him. He doesn't hear me coming. And I just knock him to the ground. And I'm like, doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't seem like a thug. But I'm like, what are you doing here? Why are you doing this? And actually, he was just stoned and drunk. He was a neighbor at the neighbor's party. And I kicked him out. But it wasn't funny at the time. Everyone has a story like that.
It's not funny at all.
I mean, I wouldn't even be that worried, but my wife was petrified because she was triggered by that,
And that's that right there, I think is why. It's like when you're gone and away. Like, do you feel comfortable with your wife and your kids, like at home without actual protection,
actually,
or
I
knowing
don't.
how to use the protection? I mean, I think that's something that's like everyone deserves a right to protect their families. Especially in teaching their families how to protect themselves when they're gone. We all need a protection. You know what I mean? This day and age, there's just too many variables, and the law isn't protecting us, and so the more I like to feel safe, and I like people to feel safe. I started fighting to protect my friends and my family, myself.
Really? Wow. I mean, back to American gun owners. I mean, fastest growing demographic are women who want to protect themselves, and we're
100%.
hooking up with the right guns and right training so they can feel secure and confident as gun owners. And my wife's going to sign up too because she doesn't feel safe. She doesn't know how to use the gun. I'm trying to teach her, but she's a perfect example. Just wants to be able to defend the family. And it's not like the police aren't well-intentioned. They just don't have the resources. By the time you call in a home invasion in most of a big city like Los Angeles, too much time is going to have passed. They're not going to be able to help you. You have to be able to defend yourself. And
it's the people above them that are restricting them from doing what they need to do. That's
another whole story about how the laws are changing, though. And now people are legally allowed not only to own a gun, but to carry a gun if you're qualified in even a place like Los Angeles County.
Yeah.
Supreme Court has ruled very clearly, a lot of precedent cases. NRA is doing a good job now of people being able to defend their rights to own and carry a gun if you're qualified. And I think that's good.
Yeah.
So, Luke, one of your friends is Cain Velasquez, and I know he's been in the news a lot recently. Some pretty unfortunate things happened to his child, it's alleged, and then he retaliated. And then you become active on social media trying to get the attention of President Trump. Do you have anything you want to talk about with that?
I mean, Cain is a very unfortunate situation where the law really hasn't protected his family. You can, it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad that they won't charge or hold someone. Pedophiles are charged, but they're not convicted in California. It's really sick, and disgusting. The laws need to change on that accord. But Cain heard of this man who 46-year-old man living on the premise of a daycare, of a preschool.
Oh, gee, what could go wrong there?
Yeah, what could go wrong there? Living at his mother's house, living with his mother on the premise of a daycare that she owns.
Oh, boy.
Like, you're talking about just the mind sickens, and a man like that with priors who's living on that, the court and the judge set him free back to the premise of this day after these accusations. I mean, that's the sickest thing. That's the most idiotic, dumbest situation I've ever heard of in my life. I mean, but this happens a lot. And so Cain caught wind of them releasing this man, and like any father would do if you understood, when a man like that is touching your boy, a 5-year-old boy, and God knows how many other kids. I mean, this guy's living there on the premise. It's like, it's your mind just, it's gross. And so Cain understood his release and found where he was, and tried to hunt him down like we all should have the opportunity to do if the law is not going to do it. Unfortunately, this is the world that you can't do those kind of things. But I mean, this is not, he did what we all imagine and dream of doing sometimes, in bad situations. If you were in a situation like that where your kids were molested, and this man was not convicted and released back to your school,
that'd be tough.
Back to your school. I mean, like, think about this, people. Like, what would you do if your 5-year-old boy or girl was molested by a man who was not convicted and set back to live on the premise of that school where your child and other kids?
It's really hard to believe. That's not how it was portrayed in the media.
That is exactly how it was portrayed. That is exactly what happened.
Wow. I did not know that.
And Cain went to take the law into his own hands. It was a very sick, disturbing situation.
Now he's got to do some serious time, right?
No, he doesn't really. He's done
got time served. They're
time served. He'll be out in about 6 months, I think.
Oh, okay.
So it was like, he's been in it for a couple months. It was like almost a year now left. Probably get out early with time. So I think he should be out by the end of the year.
Got it. Oh, that's
or early 2026
event.
Yeah. And I mean, this is something that's like, you got to make people aware of. It's just the law fails you in so many ways.
Yeah. Well, the law's not perfect for sure, but when it's your kid who's on the wrong side of it, it's a little tougher to reconcile, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, people turn a blind eye until it happens to them, until it's real
that's
life.
the thing, right? Yeah.
Until it's on their doorstep.
Yeah.
If this was Texas, you imagine what would happen.
Probably. He probably would have killed him, and then would have been
he would have been the next governor of Texas.
Well, that's like the laws are very different in Texas for even trespassing, right? Like in California, we have what's called a modified castle doctrine. So someone that breaks into your home, you can't shoot them. You can only use as much force as deemed reasonable in the circumstances. And you can only shoot someone if you think your life is in immediate danger where death could result. So if someone's turned around or they're quite far away, you can't shoot them.
You can't shoot them.
But then how are you going to make that decision?
Put a gun to your head.
Right. At a split second or like right at you.
We have a current case right now. The man, was broken into with two thugs. One puts a gun straight to his head and he makes a move and gets him to shuffle, and he happened to have a gun on him, and he turned back and the guy turned and he shot at it. He shot the guy, and now he's being prosecuted because two guys broke in, put a gun to his head, and he just caught him on the fly and shot one of them on the way out. Yeah, so we all that case.
Yeah, laws are changing though quickly in California.
I mean, California.
People are tired of it.
California is just people are tired of it.
In other states, obviously, like Florida and Texas, that castle doctrine is much stronger. So as soon as you come on someone's property, you lose your rights. You're allowed to defend your home, and you can use deadly force. So they don't get a lot of people trespassing and trying to break in now. These statistics have been debated by the left and right consistently, but I think that the new statistics that I'm seeing is it is a pretty serious deterrent in these states where people are armed, they're just defending their property. They're not aggressive, but if you come onto someone's property in the middle of the night, you know what? You're going to get shot, so you don't do it. But here, a lot of people just have no fear of the law. And unfortunately, we've had to now, I think, adapt to that by having the laws go a little further back to the right. And people need to arm themselves and understand how to safely and confidently own and use their gun. And that's what we're trying to do at American Gun Owners. As you know, it's not all about guns, but it's just something that we're talking about.
About safety. It's about
So Luke, thanks so much for coming in, man. The last time I saw you, I think I was in the ring. I was just beating the snot out of you, and I just felt bad for you because I was beating you so hard. I thought, I know you're getting older, and your ego probably took a real pounding with me. So let's have you on the podcast.
Are you a producer or an actor, Michael? I forgot.
I'm neither. I used to be. That's funny. So I was a film producer for years, and then I kind of pivoted into venture capital. I'm a professional investor, and I'm a startup guy. I start companies.
You keep the acting down.
Yeah, the acting was good acting. You have to admit, I was just Michael. But you were a professional at not hitting me because I loved that. It was like you would right, left, and become like an inch of my nose. So you did hit me once in the nose. You don't remember that because I was getting cocky, and you're like,
I fired you up a little bit.
You did fire me up, yeah. I was like, I quickly came to my senses and said, "Cut. Let's stop this. Let's go our own direction because next time he's actually going to hurt me." But anyway, it was awesome having you here. You're such a good supporter of what we're doing with American Gun Owners, and also me personally. I really thank you for your time. You've always been a huge supporter of me as well as the company. So thank you, man. Appreciate it. Love you.
Pleasure, love.
All right.